Hey, how's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while since I did my last video, but the World Cup is literally 8 days away. So I thought, what better time to come back than right now, right before the World Cup, to make my prediction. So as you know, last time I made a prediction, I made it for the Copa America, and I got almost everything right except the final, where I thought Colombia would win, but Argentina won in the final in overtime 1-0. So this time, I'm going to try to be as unbiased as possible, and I'm going to get this one right. So let's start with Group A. Also, let me know down in the comment section below before we get started who you think is going to be the World Cup winner, who's going to be the dark horse, and who's going to be the top scorer of the tournament. So let's get started with Group A. We have Mexico, South Africa, Korea, and Czech Republic. So in this group, we have one of the World Cup hosts in Mexico. Although I think one of the advantages that Mexico will have is that they're going to be playing on home soil. Mexico has been so underwhelming lately that I think there's no way they're going to finish in first. So for this group, I think Korea will finish first, Mexico will finish second, South Africa third, and Czech Republic last. Don't ask me why, that's what I think. For Group B, we have Canada, Bosnia, Qatar, and Switzerland. For this group, we have again another World Cup host. But once again, although Canada has been playing great lately and actually got 4th place in the last Copa America, losing to Uruguay in penalties, I don't think they're going to top this group. But I do think they're going to make it through to the next round for the first time in World Cup history. And I think they're going to finish second. But for first place, I think it's going to be Switzerland. Switzerland will finish first, Canada will finish second, Bosnia will finish third, and Qatar will go home. Next up in Group C, we have Brazil, Morocco, Haiti, and Scotland. Now I know Brazil is strong favorites to finish first place in this group, but how they've been playing lately hasn't been great. And although Brazil is always Brazil, they finished 5th place in the World Cup qualifiers, and I actually think they're going to finish second. I think Morocco, the latest African Cup champion, is going to finish first place, meaning Brazil will finish second, Scotland will finish third, and Haiti will finish last. Moving on to Group D, we have United States, Paraguay, Australia, and Turkey. Now this group could go any way. I think everybody in this group is evenly matched, and I think Paraguay is going to finish first, USA is going to finish second, Turkey, and then Australia is last. For Group E, we have Germany, Curacao, Ivory Coast, and Ecuador. And for this group, I know Germany's favorites to win, but Ecuador has an amazing defense, and I could see them finishing first place over Germany. But to try to be as unbiased as possible, I think Germany will finish first, Ecuador will finish second, Ivory Coast third, and Curacao will be out. For Group F, we have Netherlands, Japan, Sweden, and Tunisia. I think for this group, Netherlands will finish first, Japan will finish second, Sweden will finish third, and Tunisia will finish fourth. Moving up to Group G, we have Belgium, Egypt, Iran, and New Zealand. Oh man, and for this group, I think Belgium will finish first, although it's not their golden generation anymore. I think they're still strong enough to beat all the teams here, and they have less expectation going in than they did previous years. But I think they're going to finish first place. I think Iran will finish second, Egypt will finish third, and New Zealand will be last. Sorry guys. For Group H, we have Spain, Cabo Verde, Saudi Arabia, and Uruguay. And I think for this group, it's pretty easy to see where it's going to go. Spain will finish first, Uruguay will finish second, Saudi Arabia will finish third, and Cabo Verde will finish last. For Group I, we have France, Senegal, Iraq, and Norway. And I actually think this is a really fun group. Although France is favorites to, of course, finish first, and I think that's where they're going to finish. I think Senegal and Norway will be an amazing match, but I think Senegal will finish second, Norway will finish third, and Iraq will finish last. Then we have Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. And yeah, this group is just, it's Argentina, Algeria, Austria, and Jordan. For Group K, we have Portugal, Congo, Uzbekistan, and Colombia. Now for this group, I know the two favorites to finish first and second is Portugal and Colombia. And although Portugal has an amazing team, I still back Colombia to finish first. And if they catch fire, I can see them going a long way. Anyways, I'm gonna pick Colombia to finish first in that group, Portugal to finish second, Congo to finish third, and Uzbekistan to finish last. For Group L, we have England, Croatia, Ghana, and Panama. And I think England will finish first place, Croatia will finish second, Panama will finish third, and Ghana will finish last. Now to pick our 8 third place teams, I'm gonna pick Turkey to go through because surely they'll tie the US or they will tie Paraguay. I picked Norway to go through. Panama will make it through. Sweden will make it through. Saudi Arabia will make it through. Ivory Coast will make it through. Austria will make it through. And South Africa will make it through. Those are going to be the 8 teams that make it through. All right, so here's where it starts to get interesting. Now we have the brackets. So we have Germany versus Turkey. I think Germany will beat Turkey. Although Germany hasn't been playing great, I think they still have enough power to beat Turkey. Now France versus Sweden. France is absolutely disgusting of a team. They just had Dembele win the Champions League twice in a row. They're going to beat Sweden. Now we have Mexico versus Canada. And although I've heard people say that they think Mexico would win because Mexico has been historically better and a more football nation, Canada, I think, has proven that they are stronger than Mexico in recent years. So I'm going to actually pick Canada to beat Mexico. Then we have Brazil versus Netherlands. I think even though it's not the Brazil that we usually know and the Brazil we expect, they're still going to beat the Netherlands. We have Portugal versus Croatia. I think Portugal will win and they'll beat Croatia. Spain versus Algeria. Spain's going to go through their... Yeah, they're too much to handle. Then we have Paraguay versus Ivory Coast. I think Paraguay will go through. Belgium versus South Africa. Belgium will beat South Africa. Morocco versus Japan. They'll have enough to beat Japan. Ecuador versus Senegal. I think Ecuador's defense will be enough to go into overtime, and I think Ecuador will score 1 goal and shut it down, and I think they're going to make it through. Korea versus Saudi Arabia. I back Korea to beat Saudi Arabia. England versus Norway. England has too much star power, although this is going to be an amazing game, but I think England is going to go through. They'll beat Norway. Then we have Argentina versus Uruguay. This is going to be an amazing game. This is going to be fun to watch. It's always fun to watch these two go up against each other, but I think Argentina beats Uruguay. Then we have USA versus Iran. Yikes. I don't even know if this match would be allowed to happen, but wow. Yeah, this match is allowed to happen. If this is yeah, I don't know what would happen if this went through, but I think US would beat Iran. Then we have Switzerland versus Austria. I think Switzerland beats Austria. And then we have Colombia versus Panama, and I think Colombia would beat Panama. Then we go back up here, and we have Germany versus France. And this is going to be a great game, but I think France will beat Germany. Canada versus Brazil. And I think this is where Canada's run ends, unfortunately, and Brazil beats them. Then we have Portugal versus Spain. And in Ronaldo's last World Cup, Lamine Yamal will score a banger and send Ronaldo home. Then we have Paraguay versus Belgium. And I think Belgium would beat Paraguay. Yeah, I think Belgium would beat Paraguay, just slightly going through. Morocco versus Ecuador. Oh man, I'm so biased towards Ecuador. Having seen Colombia play them so often that I don't even know, maybe I'm brainwashed, but I think Ecuador would beat Morocco. And then we have England versus Korea, and I think England goes through. England has too much star power, and they will beat Korea. And then we have Argentina versus the US, the United States of America, and this is where the last host goes home, and I think Argentina beats them. We have Switzerland versus... Argentina beats them, not the United States. What was that? Then we have Switzerland versus Colombia, and I think Colombia beats Switzerland and will be in the quarterfinals. Now we have France versus Brazil, which, what an absolute match if that happens. That would be, that's a nasty game. So we have France versus Brazil. And even though I said Brazil has been struggling, Brazil still finds himself in the quarterfinals because Brazil is Brazil, but France is too much. I think France would beat Brazil slightly. They'd go through. We have Spain versus Belgium, and I think Spain would beat Belgium. Then we have England versus Ecuador, and I think England would go through. They would beat Ecuador, finally knocking out Ecuador, that I think is going to do so great in this World Cup. And then we have Argentina versus Colombia. Now I swear, we always play Argentina, and the last times that we've played them in every tournament, we've lost to them either in penalties, last minute goals. It's always been close, but we just lose to them. In the last match we just had, Colombia beat Argentina. And just like before with the Copa America final, and maybe I'm biased, but Argentina just won the World Cup and they just won the Copa America. So I don't think they'd have the hunger that Colombia has to win it. And I think Colombia would beat Argentina and would make it to the semifinals for the first time in its history. Then we have, for the semi-final, we have France versus Spain, which this is what I think the final would be. This is what I think the final would be. These would be the top two teams. And I think Spain has been playing and they've been on fire. I think Spain would beat France and Spain would be in the World Cup final. And then we have Colombia versus England. And the last time Colombia faced England in the World Cup, Colombia scored a last-minute header to tie the game 1-1. And then they lost in penalties to England. And I think this year is a redemption year for Colombia. So of course I have to say that they're gonna beat England and they're gonna go through to their first ever final. Then for the final, we have Spain versus Colombia. And although I want to say Colombia, I think Spain would beat Colombia and Spain would be the World Cup champion. So that's my prediction for the World Cup 2026. Let me know down in the comment section below if you agree or if I'm completely off the mark. But I think in the end, Spain will be the one to win the World Cup and Colombia will make a deep run. And I know I'm biased, but I think they're going to make a deep run. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you want to see some more World Cup content, because I'm wanting to do a lot of World Cup content this summer. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time. 하늘을 날며 어느새 제주 바다가